Story of the missing woman. During the La dynasty, there was a young man who married a man named Mai. One day, when she heard that her biological sister was seriously ill, she told her husband to let her go and take care of her medicine because her family was very busy. Her sister's house is in a village about 3 miles away. The woman went back and forth at random times. Some days she left in the morning and came home in the evening. Some days she stayed there and only came back in the morning. That's been 3 times. At this time, the harvest was free, so the husband let his wife go back and forth to visit her as she pleased. Her sister's condition became more and more critical. The woman went to visit again, but this time the husband saw that she had gone but did not return. Thinking that his wife had to stay and take care of her, he didn't suspect anything. But from the second day to the third day, his wife still did not return. The husband was now impatient and quickly asked someone to send a message to his wife to tell her to come home early to arrange a debt. But that person came home and said that the sister's family had not seen her brother coming and that they were waiting. Hearing that, the whole Mai family panicked and quickly split up to look everywhere. But for a month of searching everywhere from the market, the ferry station, to the forest, I couldn't find him anywhere. The husband was extremely hurt, and finally blamed it on her family. One day he came to cause trouble, cursed each other a lot, and then filed a lawsuit with the mandarin. The official received the application and asked the defendant to come in for questioning. The brother-in-law told the truth that he knew absolutely nothing about his brother-in-law's disappearance. Even questioning the relatives of the villages on both sides did not reveal any light. For more than a year, the government sent detectives to investigate on the one hand, and on the other hand went to the communes and villages to search, but still could not find any trace that could be traced. Then 6 or 7 times of opening the seal passed, and the case file had to be abandoned in the palace hall. The 2 new officials took turns visiting the old official but could not find any clues. Later, one day a new mandarin with the surname Nhu arrived. Even though the mandarin had passed his doctorate, he still looked young, so much so that when he stood in the middle of the general manager's office, no one knew he was a high-ranking person. When reviewing the remaining files, he seemed interested in this case. Nha told him again, the previous officials also used many people to investigate not only in one government or one province but also in neighboring provinces, but in the end they had to give up. With Bao Kong reincarnated, this case can be clarified. He said to them, I wonder if people searched from near to far at that time, or did they only aim at the far and ignore the near? I decided to reconsider this case a bit. From then on, the young official thought a lot about that sentence. In turn, he summoned his brother-in-law, his husband's family, and a few witnesses to inquire about the missing person's facial features, lifestyle, and clothing. People said she was beautiful and virtuous. He asked them to sketch a map for him of the route from his brother's house to his sister's house. What is the main path? What is the shortcut? What houses do you pass? Etc. When you see the shortcut, you have to go through a deserted field. There is a temple here. If he wanted to go from the temple to the village, he had to crush beetle residue to get there. He muttered to himself, maybe the clue lies here? He immediately disguised himself as a merchant and passed through that road once. Seeing the large pagoda and the dense trees surrounding the pagoda, he could not stop his suspicions. He ordered a fake prostitute to bring gold and incense to that temple to worship Buddha. The young monks saw the silhouette of a woman entering the temple and rushed over like a cat seeing fat. The singer glanced at them affectionately, making it impossible for them to keep their compassionate and dignified faces. When he had a complete grasp of the details, the mandarin ordered his troops to march to the pagoda. The monk came out to welcome him very politely. The mandarin said, "I was going to pray for seeds. I heard that this was a spiritual place, so I quickly came here to worship Buddha and pray for a dream. I asked the temple to let me rest for a night." The next morning the mandarin woke up very early. The officers had already received orders. Their swords and spears were shining, surrounding the pagoda. The mandarin summoned all the nuns and everyone in the pagoda to ask, "The pagoda is a place of virtuous practice, so why did I dream last night that a young woman came to complain?" Sadly, and then told me the whole story. So if anyone commits a crime, please confess quickly and you will receive leniency. Otherwise, we will interrogate, and those involved will definitely be beheaded. Hearing the loud announcement, the whole temple's eyes turned green. In the end, the wicked believe that the unjust soul appears. Unable to resist anymore, they all knelt down to confess their sins. Luckily that day it was just early morning, when they saw a woman passing in front of the temple gate. 3 evil monks rushed out, covered her mouth and took her into the bushes to take turns raping her. Then, afraid of revealing the story, they strangled the woman to death and buried her near the pagoda, gradually building rocks over her to make her disappear. The soldiers were ordered to dig up, and indeed found the remains of the unfortunate man. The mandarin called relatives to pick him up and bury him. The evil monks were taken to the palace hall for trial. The young monks who escaped official duties and went to the temple were all forced to return to secular life. When the news spread, everyone was overjoyed. The king called the Nhu family back to the court and appointed them ministers of the Ministry of Pictures. 1. First. According to the accounts of Hung Yen and Hadong People and Nam Phang Magazine, 1931. Thank you for joining us for today's fairy tale. We hope these stories bring joy and meaning to your day. If you love our channel, please hit the subscribe button so you won't miss any exciting tales. Wishing you a good night and sweet dreams. See you in the next story.